We're turning now to dispatches from what they call the virtual war zone, a story about the perils of online journalism. Reporters have always had to defend their work, but the trolling of journalists has grown commonplace. And many female media professionals are dealing with the kind of hate messages that men will never see. Comments about their gender, appearance, sexuality. The language can be ugly and violent. Threats of sexual assaults and rape have grown disturbingly common. Because for trolls, hiding behind an online profile is not difficult. And the anonymity of social media has made the dissemination of abuse and hate as easy as a simple click. The Listening Post spoke with two journalists, Maria Ressa in the Philippines and Sagarika Ghosh in India, about their experience with online harassment and the impact it has had on their work and their well-being. Also talking us through this story, Hannah Storm, the director of an organization that trains reporters on how to stay safe, both on and off the web.
I used to be a war zone correspondent, but in a war zone, you know where the enemy is. You know what you need to prepare for. You know how to stay safe. In this new landscape, this is intimate. You take it home with you. You wake up with it. It's with you all the time. I've been attacked as a communist operative, a CIA, every kind of word that you can think of for ugly, for animals, for, I don't know, I mean, you name it, it's been thrown at me. As a journalist, I'm used to defending the work I do. But how do you respond when someone threatens you with rape? When someone wants you dead?
You're inundated with a barrage of hate, of vitriol, words calling you things like prostitute or whore or hooker or somebody else's sex slave, that they're going to do things to you that are really sexually explicit. Women journalists are 3 times more likely to experience online harassment than their male colleagues. People are trying to shame them into silence by calling them names, by undermining their reputation, and by trying to violate their role as journalists.
In August of 2016, Rappler came out with a series of stories. I called it the propaganda machine. That series showed you that social media has been weaponized, that the accounts that are in the middle of this, the content creators, are working for government. And it was all connected to anyone who questioned the drug war. As soon as the series was published, I started receiving an average of 90 hate messages per hour. I'll read one to you. Is that all right? So this one. This is from a real kid. Maybe Maria Ressa's dream is to become the ultimate porn star in a gangbang scene. So it's not, but it's there. Second one is make sure Maria Ressa gets publicly raped to death when martial law expands to Luzon. It would bring joy in my heart. It's meant to tear you down so that you don't have the confidence to continue reporting. That's one. And then the second is to make you doubt yourself, to stop you from reporting stories that go against the government narrative.
All of that is just a day-to-day rubbish and horror that female journalists have to experience. But it's not just virtual, it's very much physical, it's very much psychological as well. A lot of the journalists who are killed around the world get threats online. So certainly the physical and the virtual do collide. One of the issues for news organisations is trying to understand the severity of the threat, and that's often a difficult issue when you've got an online harassment or got online threats, to figure out how serious do you need to take it.
In the beginning, I never used to take it seriously because I thought it was just, people barking on social media, lunatics on social media, crazy people who I didn't have to take seriously. But then I started getting some very serious threats. One of the first threats that I got was a threat of gang rape. And it was gang rape of me as well as my daughter, who was then in school. And they said, we know where your daughter studies, we know which school she's in, we know what time she comes out of school, and we're going to grab her and we're going to assault her and we're going to perform gang rape. You see, what happens is that the person puts out a threat and then deletes the account. But having deleted the account, lots of other handles then take it up and disseminate it. So its purpose is served because it creates a kind of chilling effect. You get very scared. You tend to sort of self-censor because you're scared of what is out there.
The IWMF Trollbusters report that came out recently said that something like 30% of female journalists they spoke with had considered leaving the profession because of the impact it had had on them. Something like 40% of female journalists have actually stopped writing about certain stories. If we're in a situation where journalists are impacted onto this extent, that's really, really damaging to freedom of expression as well.
And then the threats kept on growing and they kept getting more and more abusive and more foul. If you're a liberal, you're under attack. If you're a journalist, you're under attack. If you're a liberal woman journalist, you're public enemy number one. There are women who are attacked on social media who are then attacked off social media. The threats can be online and then go offline. My colleague and good friend Gauri Lankesh was actually shot in September 2017, and a Facebook user put out a hit list of me and 4 other women saying that, well, one has been taken care of. We now need to locate these 5 other women, find out where they live, and we need to systematically finish them off. And this was then shared by numerous other Facebook users. Now, the reason why I take these Facebook and Twitter threats seriously is because, this is exactly what happened to Lankesh. She faced social media threats and she never used to take it seriously. But the fact is she was killed. And the scary thing about Gauri's death was that the murder suspect has said that, oh, I didn't know who she was. I was just told that she was damaging my religion, and so I killed her. So that's the level of brainwashing and fanaticism that exists out there. I don't think the government is doing anything about it, actually. I think a number of these trolls who are there on social media are actually followed by government ministers. I think social media companies need to do much more. I would love it if people were engaging with me on my journalism, or who were engaging with me on my work. But if it becomes a place for death threats and for rape threats and for gang rape threats, then I think it loses its meaning. Social media companies need to have much stricter restrictions on what is hate speech, what is hate speech against women, what is hate speech against minorities.
The problem that I've seen is that they are in Silicon Valley, looking at the world through lenses that don't take into account the global landscape they operate in. When I hear Mark Zuckerberg say, it'll take us 5 years, I just say, we don't have 5 years in our countries where people are getting killed every day. In the Philippines, where I have 7 cases and could go to jail. Information is the core of our beliefs, of our common reality. And we need to get back to a point where this kind of dystopian use of information is mitigated.